Okay guys, this is a further one of my series on organising shared coordinates in your project, and this one is a real world example of the sort of rubbish you get when you're trying to bring in CAD files from the architect. Now on the screen is an error message. Has anyone ever seen it before? If you've been trying to link CAD files from architects where the correct survey coordinates are in the files, I'm sure you have. And what it means is that Revit's area for working is being exceeded, and now it's often called the 20-mile rule, Revit being an American program. The Revit working palette can't be bigger than 20 miles by 20 miles. And what we're trying to do here is we're trying to link a CAD file that's actually bigger than that. So I'll just go and have a look at the file here. This is what this is typically sort of stuff you'd receive from your architects. So there's a CAD file. It's got a paper space and there's all their title block and all this garbage in it. They got rev clouds, and when you go into the model, you can see that north is to the top of the page, so it's it's in the correct survey coordinates. And if we do a little ID point down here, we can see that the coordinate x, oh fading, hang on, do that. The coordinate x is 300,000 meters. So that's because that's 333. So it's 333 million millimeters. So we'll just talk in meters. So it's 300,000 meters by 6.2 million meters north. The x is east, of course, and it's at in the CAD world it's RL0, so that the x and y are in the correct survey coordinates, but z is just flat. It's CAD. Also in this file there's grids for elevation with levels on it. So, okay, levels, that might be pretty useful for us later. And there's hatching, and it's a whole lot of well, rubbish really. But most importantly, the origin of this file is way down here somewhere, because it's 300,000 meters east and 6.2 million meters north. So that's where that building is positioned. And the origin of the drawing is down in Antarctica somewhere. I don't even know where the origin is, but it's miles away. So what we've got to do is we've got to record, this is pencil and paper, a known point on this drawing, because we've got to shift it all so that we can use it, so we can get it into Revit, because in its current form it won't go in. Okay, so this particular floor plan, look, this is just by way of an example. Let's just say that's the ground floor. So it's got an RL of 2.8, even though it isn't digitally correct in the file. We know that it's 2.8, so we'll write that down. This file has to be this level is at RL 2.8, and here there's a coordinate, like I said before, F2 of 300,000 round figures east and 6.2 million meters west. Now I would actually physically write those down. Okay, so you get a pen and a piece of paper and you write them down. The x, the y, and the z, which is 2.8. Then what you do is you'd actually start fixing the file up so you can use it. Now it's really important that you record and put in your drafting plan what you do to these files, because if the architect sends you an update, you've got to do it again and then overwrite the old one, the one you're doing. Okay, so I'm just come back to another version of this file, and this file has had, look, all those grids have been stripped out, all the hatching's been erased, and lo and behold, when you list this point here now, okay, this point, that's now 0, 0, 0. So what we've done, we've cleaned up the file, we've stripped out the hatch, we've removed all those unnecessary grids, we've taken the title block out of paper space and any other rubbish that's in there. We've moved the file down which is a known point which we've recorded, and that's written in the drafting plan, what grid A1 actually is in the world. It's got an X, Y and Z coordinate, so we've recorded that down, and we've got the file in a form that we have got it as clean as we possibly can to use. Now, I picked this particular example because even when it comes into Revit, there's still an error message. There's a message about. I'll just show you this piece of text here. Some of this information here, and down over here. There's some hatch. We still get an error message because Revit still has a bit of trouble getting it in, but we get it in a good enough fashion to use. Okay, so I'll go back to Revit now, and I've just set up a datum view. So datum's at level 0, and now we're going to go insert link CAD, and we're going to pick our cleaned up file. Now, it's came to us with a revision attached. Now what I do is that the cleaned up file, I have a very clean name, so that when you get a new version, version H or M or whatever, you can actually prepare it in the same way, and then override that file, and then when you open up your project, because it's linked, not inserted, the new file will be used. Okay, so now I'm going to just change the method of insert, because I know the origin of this, my new model, the origin is 0, and I've made the origin of my prepared CAD file 0. So I'm going to just bring it in, origin to origin. There's the error that I told you about. Some numerical data within the imported file is out of range. This numerical data has been truncated. So even despite my best efforts, I still haven't got it all, but it's the best I can do. But when you see the file as it comes in, it's all there. See how this is the sort of like truncated? See, some of the text gets all messed up. I have no explanation to why it happens. I've cleaned it up as best I can, but it's still not quite right. Okay, so here's my CAD file has come in, and remember I've got it recorded what this point A1 actually is. So you can see it there. The first thing I want to do is, I've got grids to create. I've got a project north to establish. But let's get the shared stuff done first. As from the other examples, I'm going to go to a true north view, and this point here is a known coordinate. So I'm going to just pop in a quick model line, because I can snap to this now, because remember, as we've talked about before, Revit doesn't like an intersection, it's got to have an end. So this point here, I'm going to go manage coordinates, specify coordinates at point. And I'll pick my point. Now you would do this much better than me, but I'll start typing the coordinates. Actually, wait I'll do something slightly different, because we're talking in these coordinates are in meters. We can quickly do this. Come up here to project units and change the length to meters. Meters, that one there. And we want 3 decimal places. Okay, so the units are now changed in this model to meters. So now when I do this, because I don't want to record survey coordinates in millimeters, I can pick this point now, and I can go. Look, it was just 300,000 round figures, and it was 6 million, 6.2 million. That's right. And this time I'm going to leave the elevation at 0, because I just want to show you a slightly different way of changing the RL, which is different to what we looked at last time. Okay, so now I'm going to do that. So I've now told Revit exactly where that point is in X and Y. So it's now moved the project system away from the shared system. So it's moved the world underneath it. And okay, so I'll come back to Project North. Right, we'll just to show you that it's those coordinates are there. See, there's my 300,000 to 6.2 million. I'll change the units back anytime I like. I'll do that now just to show you. So we can change this now back to, because I've done the inputting now, I can change it back to millimeters. 0 decimal places. Okay, okay. And now when I report these coordinates, they're the same numbers, but they're in millimeters now, so that there's another 3 zeros. So you can do this, you can do that at any stage. Right, and the next thing I want to do, of course, we've got Project North established. We want A's and B's to be parallel with the, with the horizon. So I'll go position. I want to rotate Project North, and I'll pick this grid. Project, so it's just telling me that it's done it, and so I've got it half right there now. I've now got grid 1 parallel to the bottom, but I want grid A, so I can just go position again, rotate Project North. This time I can just go 90 counterclockwise. Okay. So there we go. I've got the Project North rotated around, so my grids are horizontal and vertical, and I'll just show you that True North's still there. See, that hasn't changed. Project North, right? So now I can start doing my grids, etc. But before we go on, there's a couple of little tricks, that I've learnt the hard way. Sometimes when you bring in big CAD files like this, if I go zoom extents, it's gone. Now it's gone because there is still some data right at the limits of the file, and I couldn't find it, and this often happens. But no matter what you do now, you can't find your link file. It's there somewhere. You can't zoom in. You can't find it. It's just, it's lost. There is a little trick that I've discovered, so you can actually get it back and find where you are in the world. So if you go to an elevation view, right? So this is our datum. You can see the VG. Hang on, the CAD file. It's not visible yet. Imported characters. There we go. You just got to turn it on. So you can see that the CAD file's there, the line work. Now what I do is just place a temporary grid over your level. Okay. And go to the west view. Turn the CAD on again. And there's your level, and just place another temporary grid. Okay, now we go back to the plan. We're still zoomed out, but if we just temporarily just turn off the link file and zoom extents again, you can find those two little temporary grids that you just placed. Now, because we've rotated it around, the elevation symbols were as they were before, so that's why those grids are a bit crooked. But it doesn't matter because they're there temporarily only. Now you go VG and turn this back on. Now you can just delete these. So you've found your file again. So it's just a little trick I thought I'd share. Okay, so the elevation, we'll show you how to do that. Now the elevation, remember, was RL 2.8. So what you can do is a separate process in Revit. You can what they call move the project, which just affects the level. So you can come in here to manage and coordinates. No, not that. Position, relocate project. That's the one. So if you pick that. So I'm just picked any old random point, and I'm going to move it up. We set the units back to millimeters, so it's 2,800. Now you see what it's done. It's moved the whole project up into the up by 2.8 meters because I did 2,800 millimeters, and it's moved the levels. If there's other levels, it would have moved them all. So that's just another little trick that you can use to set the elevation. So now you'd rename that ground floor, which is what we were talking about before. Just go back to the to the plan now. Now you've got that linked, and you know that you've got the coordinate system shared. The coordinate system, just to recap, true north, still there. Project north, right? You can now use this this CAD data to establish your grids. So I'm sure you've done this before. If you set grid, you've got this little tool here, pick lines, and you can just start picking. And in our file now, we've got a grid line that we've harvested from the architect's file. All right, I think I'll leave it there. Other than just saying what I would normally do with this file now, you would create the series of levels in this file, and I'd bring the architectural plans in at their correct levels, so that you have a level created that matches the project, and bring each architectural file in its correct position. I would then save this using a name like hosted architectural file, and then I would start yet another project, and I would link this hosted file into my project. I don't like having the overhead of all these CAD files actually in my project. For a couple of reasons. It brings a whole lot of I'll call it pollution, funny line types and hatch patterns in with it. Don't want that in my project. And also, if you ever get a corrupt CAD file, if it's in a hosted model, then you protect your work from a potential corruption. And also the file's smaller because you haven't got all this CAD overhead. So just to recap, I'd create a hosted file, bring all these CAD files in at their correct level, and then I'd start a new project and link this Revit file, which has just got linked architectural CAD files in, and I'd use it that way. And then as you create your levels, you can link by linked view. Now, if that is also a bit strange or alien to people, just again send me an email, and I'll set up a movie just showing that technique. It gives you a lot more control and a lot more power. Okay, I think I'll leave it there. I just wanted to just show you that again with a much more real life example of the sorts of things you come across. Okay, thanks.